Good evening. It's Brian Paragamian, Senior Trader and Co-Founder of ProfessionalStockTraderLive.com, bringing you Friday evening's update for February 20th. Excuse me. Well, I don't want to say we called it, but we did call it. We talked months ago that the Dow Jones would be taking out its lows here of 74.49, and it certainly has. We traded as low as 72.49 today before settling down 100 points. We gapped down on the day. We traded down 200 points. We rallied back on some Washington rhetoric that the banks would not be nationalized and that they would be kept in the private sector. Time will tell on that. Again, Wall Street is not liking the uncertainty coming out of Washington, thus the market sell-off. When we did get the rhetoric speak that the banks would stay privatized, the market rallied 200 points before selling off late in the day. And again, we talked here when the Dow transports broke to new lows that it was a Dow Jones sell signal. You can see that the transports continue breaking here today, trading as low as 26.31 before closing up at 2,700. And again, the Dow Jones followed and broke out the lows that we had here from late November. And as you can see, we closed down below them. As we zoom in on this here a little bit, you can see clearly how we traded down below them today. So what do we think happens from here? Well, on our live webcast today, we actually thought the market was ready to turn, and we actually think it is ready to turn for a number of reasons. And let's take a look at a couple of the reasons why we think it's ready to turn. Well, one, if you look here at the stochastics, the stochastics are starting to hook up and they're ready to go onto a buy signal. And actually, at the close of today, they are on an absolute slight buy signal. Very minor buy signal. We also have the RSI very, very oversold here on the Dow Jones. You can see we're down to the 21 level. Back here in early January, we got down here into the same level, into this 23. We're actually lower than we were then, and we rallied out of here. Couple other reasons. One, the summation index is not confirming these lows here on the Dow Jones. Two, we have a McClellan oscillator that's very oversold. After today, it's going to be at an oversold reading of minus 300 plus. It was minus 257 heading into today. Another reason, take a look at the NASDAQ, down 1.5 points here today. It outperformed. We have the Russell. The Russell closed down 5 3/4. The Russell, the NASDAQ, none of them are pressing new lows as a Dow is. So we think that's a telltale sign of things to come with the technicals, that the selling here on the very short term is exhausting itself, and we're looking for a rally here this upcoming week. In fact, we positioned ourselves in Apple Computer on some March 100 calls. We think the stock is going to rally, and we think it's going to rally actually pretty hard this week along with the rest of the market. And taking a look at Apple Computers, the stock came back into some support here, and we think the stock is ready to rally up and out of here. Stochastics still are on a sell signal here, but we like the fact that Apple closed up on the day, as you can see here, by 56 cents, with the stock market down 100. And if we zoom in on this picture here just a little bit, and we go ahead and draw a trend line here, you can see that Apple is into a zone here that it should have held and did hold. And we like the tape action here, and you can see right here how it had troubles. It backed off here into this 89.90 area and held and rallied up. Then we came back down, broke through this area, and we had a tough time getting back through it for 4 or 5 days. Rallied back up through it and back down, back through it, came back, supported on it, and now we're back again on top of it. So we like the fact that it's into this area where it should hold, and we think the stock, based on today's tape action, tells us that it's ready to move back to the upside. One other thing that we can note here on this chart here is that it just took out its 50-day moving average just by a hair today, closed basically right on top of it. We think this also tells us the fact that the stock is trying to hold its 50-day, that the stock is getting ready to move back to the upside. And look, the stock just came off of 103, corrected all the way down to 89. That's a very healthy correction, and we think the stock is ready, based on today's tape action, to continue its move back higher. One other stock we want to note that's a brand new one that we're looking at is McDermott International, MDR. As you can see, the stock closed down only 4 cents on the day, And if we look at the chart on this here, you see it broke out of a 6-7 month downtrend here, going back to early December. We like the fact that it's done that. You can see here it's got a slight ascending triangle here, where you've got higher highs from the previous. But what we really want to see the stock do is we want to see it break out above this 13.5 area. And we think once it breaks above this 13.5 area, that the stock can rally all the way up to 20. And in fact, this might not be a bad swing trade idea where you get long the stock here in the low 12s, upper 11s, and you put a stop in at 10 because we think the stock has upside all the way up to the 20. Now, of course, 20 is nothing here on a short-term basis, but we think once the stock clears this 13.5 area, the stock's got a lot of legs to the upside. We thought we would mention this here right now before the stock broke out because we think it's something that you should be looking at here and putting it on your price alert for a break above this level. So we thought we'd share this idea with you today. Let's take a look at gold as we look at gold quite often, but let's take a look at it from the standpoint of it's hit our objective of $1,000 an ounce. We've traded up over $1,000 an ounce today, and it doesn't surprise us. The only thing we want to say about gold is we want to put you on alert right now that now you're hearing all kinds of talk on TV about gold. It's the next spot to be. It's the next hype that Wall Street's getting people worked up about. We think while gold can work its way higher here, that longer term out, it's nothing but a trap, just like everything else Wall Street hypes. So we want to just make you on alert for that right now here on the immediate front. We don't have a whole lot else to add other than we would look for the stock market to chop around early in the week and then find some steam as Timothy Geithner is going to come out, I guess, sometime in the middle of the week and talk about what the plan is for the banks. And we think there might be some clarification that in any event, we think regardless of what he has to say, the stock market is in such an oversold position with the McClellan oscillator reading down over 300 after today, the summation index not confirming these lows, nor the Russell or the NASDAQ, that we think we're positioned to rally up off these lows, and that's what we've done. We've positioned ourselves in Apple Computer calls. And another stock that we like, actually, that we think can be traded from the long side is RIG. And if we just go ahead and take a look at RIG here real quickly here, you can see how this stock, despite oil, getting beat up here a little bit, the stock has held its 50-day moving average for 3 weeks now. The stock backed off into the 20-day moving average today, closed down a dime with the market down 100. Again, this is another stock we think can be played from the long side and should be on your long side radar into any early weakness here this week because we think the stock is ready to pop back into the low 60s, and we think it's going to do it here over the next 2 or 3 sessions. Beyond that, we've got nothing else to say other than to have yourselves a great evening, a great weekend. Tune back in Monday morning for our live webcast. And those of you that do not have a chance to tune into the live webcast and see the webcast themselves, we would urge you to at least go ahead and try and turn on the audio and tune in and listen that way because we talk about a lot of great things and we have a lot of great questions. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you on Monday morning.